Good morning, everyone. I hope this finds you well and living your best life in Jesus Christ. I have often been referred to by many people as a type A personality. What people often mean by this is that I work to do everything I can perfectly and tend to be disappointed and discouraged when I feel like I've fallen short. I used to have a sign in my office in the school many years ago that said, "Perfection isn't good enough," and another one that said, "Perfection is for slackers." This type of attitude permeated my very existence for a very long time and frankly made me miserable inside and not so nice outside. Self-doubt manifested itself in arrogance and self-hatred and anger and depression and weight gain. I remember being told a story by my mother that kind of illustrates this. She told me that when I was in first grade, my teacher, a lovely and kind lady named Mrs. Oliver, gave the class an assignment to draw and color the picture of a pumpkin. Well, when the time came to turn it in, she told me that my pumpkin was not up to standards because it had not been finished. I suppose, looking back at it now and knowing my nature, I had simply run out of time. I was given a big old red F for my drawing and told to take it home to Mom to sign. Mom said that when I got home I was absolutely crushed. According to Mom, I cried all evening, refused my supper, and even went so far as to go to bed early. My mother told me that she tried to console me, and when she did, all I could say was, "I'm a failure and I hate myself." And I told my mother then, according to her, that I would never get another F, no matter what it took. And by the way, I kept that promise until I was well into college. And when I finally did get an F from a college professor, I challenged it and it was changed. Right before my mom died, she told me that of all of her sons, I was the one who was hardest on himself. And you know what? Looking back at it, I think she was probably right. My inability to stand failure has driven and tortured me my whole life in every endeavor I've ever tried. And although I am much more accepting of the occasional mistake than I was at age 7, if I'm not careful, every mistake threatens to destroy my carefully built facade and take me back to that same cycle of self-hatred and depression. But not only have I grown physically and mentally since first grade, I have grown spiritually, especially in the last few years. And I now understand that my failures are part of what prepares me for success in every endeavor I take, as a teacher, a musician, and a pastor, but also, and more importantly, as a follower of Christ. No matter what the failure or sin or not, or whether it was a sin or not, and no matter whether we have much control over our success or not, the pain of failure is hard to overcome, and that aftermath may take years to clean up. And frankly, it may still hound you in your Christian life. If you're like this, I beg you, don't let it. Failure does not disqualify us from our potential. We all fail, but we're not failures, even when the enemy convinces us to define ourselves by that word. Our failure is never more powerful than our God. Remember that. Let this truth define you. Our failure is never more powerful than our God. God is more than capable of taking what we mess up, turning it upside down, twisting it sideways, and making it work for our good and His ultimate glory. But if we don't believe what He says, we might completely miss out on seeing Him work in and through us. Not even my failure, no matter how great, can redirect God's plan for me. And you know what? I've certainly seen that in my life. We must ask ourselves, what or who defines us? God tells us in Ephesians 2:10, "For we are God's masterpiece. He has created us anew in Jesus Christ so that we can do the good things He planned for us long ago." He made us. That's how He defines us, and He has plans for us. Remember this when the winds of failure cause you to drift and the temptation to start that old cycle of self-loathing and doubt begins. Let's take that moment and fan the flames of your faith and stand firmly on the truth. We just don't have the power to change His plans. But for those who follow Christ, nothing you've done or will do can keep you from being in the presence of God. Nothing you have done or will do will erase the potential God sees in you. So I have learned, to my great chagrin, and over many years, just do your best and leave the rest to Him. Yeah, you'll get an F every so often. Yeah, you might fail a little bit. But you know what? That F is only the first step to an everlasting A in eternity. I hope you make today a terrific day. I want you to know that I'm here if you need me, and I love you all.